Lisa, you have to wait 1 second till the record starts.
Hello, everyone. You are joining us for Career Expo today, and this is the education cluster. We have 4 of us that are going to speak to you about the education and training field. My name is Mrs. Klein, and I am with the Two Rivers School District. I have been in the world of business. I have worked in nonprofit areas as a volunteer coordinator and a director of services for Girl Scouts and the Domestic Violence Center. And then I came to education, and I've been here for 25 years. I taught family and consumer sciences, and I worked with our school to work programs and youth apprenticeship. I am now semi-retired and here at the high school part-time, working with our school to work programs, our youth apprenticeship program, work-based learning, and a variety of other programs that are offered to our students. I have taken my education degree and expanded upon it and used it in a variety of ways, not just being a teacher, which of course is what most of us think of when you go into college in the field of education. I'm going to wrap up and I'm going to send you on to Mrs. Joy Jerichowick, and she is going to tell you about her position.
Hello, my name is Joy Jerichowick. They call me Mrs. J. I currently am the transition coordinator at Two Rivers High School. That's just a fancy word for I help students figure out what they want to do after school, during school, if they want to go to college, those kind of things. I have been in our district for 21 years, and I started out as a 3rd grade elementary school teacher at Koenig, and I did that for about 8 years. And then I went to Clark Middle School, where I taught special education for 8 more years, and now I'm at the high school. So the wonderful thing about my degree, which was elementary education and special education, is that I could do a variety of things. And I always like to be challenged. So that's why I started off where I did. And I've loved every single minute of it. I love the challenges that it has. I love helping students fulfill their dreams. It's very enjoyable. I get to work with all sorts of students and talk to them about what they want to do after high school and then help them figure that out. So I also work with a lot of our community members. Two Rivers is a wonderful place to be, and there are so many wonderful businesses here and in Manitowoc, so I get to work with them, and we place a lot of students there so they can get work experiences and have all sorts of different types of job experiences so they know what they want to do and they figure out their strengths. And I get to work with all the wonderful teachers that are currently on this call right now, and we all work together as a team to help students fulfill their dreams. So do you want me to continue, or do you want me to talk? Are we gonna all, do you want to talk about?
Jump to, thanks, Ms. Jerichowick, and we'll jump to Mrs. Straddle, and she'll talk to us about what she does.
I am Jody Straddle. I teach at Two Rivers High School. I started off as a regular ed elementary teacher, and then subbed for a couple years. And after that, I was a paraprofessional with the Deaf and Hard of Hearing program. And I did that for a year. And then I got a job for as a special ed teacher, but I didn't have a special ed certification because I went to college for regular ed elementary. So then I went back to college, and it was a 1-year license, or 1-year position. So then once that position ended, I had my special ed certification, and I got hired here at Two Rivers High School. And this is my 10th year in this position, and hopefully the position that place I stay forever. I think that's all.
Thank you, Mrs. Straddle. Next up, we have Mr. Dahl.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jim Dahl. I'm a school counselor at Two Rivers High School. I took a little bit different path than I think most. I didn't know if I really wanted education to begin with. When I came out of high school, I really had no clue. I remember my school counselor at the time pulling me into his office and saying, "Hey, where are you going to go to school next year?" And I didn't know. I didn't know if I had to go to school or not. The only school I knew at the time was Stevens Point, and so I said Stevens Point. And I remember my counselor very vividly going, "Oh, good school, good school." And so, again, I just kind of went to Point just off a whim. I had no clue what I wanted to do. Just started there and just started taking classes. I liked the outdoors. I like to fish. I like to hunt. So, hey, natural resources, right? Yeah, I'll do that. And after 1 year of doing that, I realized that, yeah, it's a hobby, but it's not going to be something that I want to do full time. My sophomore year, I just kind of took classes. Like, I really wasn't sure. It was then that I started volunteering at the YMCA for Special Olympics. And that really got me kind of hooked with teaching. My brother, Bob, who's my older brother, was also cognitively disabled. So I had a very much a understanding and I guess love of just helping people. And so from there, I continued on at UW Stevens Point. I changed my major to physical education. Then I went on to become a physical education teacher in the Two Rivers School District and an adaptive phys ed teacher in the Two Rivers School District. I was for the adaptive phys ed, if those of you that do not know, it's a specialized physical education program for students that just can't quite do the regular ed program. But I wanted to change that. So I included quite a few of our students with all abilities in my class, and it was just a lot of fun. And I continued on that role for quite a few years as physical education teacher and an adaptive phys ed teacher. And then I 100% went to phys ed at the high school because I just felt like I could handle and help more students with all sorts of abilities in the regular ed setting. From there, I felt, I fell in love with actually homeroom and ACPs and getting to know students, and based off of that and my assistance in a youth group at our church, I really started taking an interest in students, and I was asked a lot of questions I just didn't know how to answer students, which pursued me to kind of go forward a little bit more with my education, and I went on to get my master's in school counseling. I love talking to students. I loved helping students. And I was a physical education teacher and a school counselor for quite a few years, probably like 10 or 12. And now this is, I believe, my 6th year of just being a full-time school counselor. I miss teaching. I miss that atmosphere. My job is different every day. And that's the fun thing about school counselors. But at the same time, I like seeing a large majority of the students every day as well. With that, that's my position, and then I believe Mrs. Klein's going to start asking some individual questions.
All right, thanks, Mr. Dahl. So at this time, I think what we'll do is get into a little bit about responsibilities of our jobs, what our typical day is like, why we like our job. Those are some pretty similar questions that are asked across the board when people are looking at what it is they want to do in their life. So my typical day right now is a little bit different. In the past, it was I taught all day, or I was working with students who were going to work. Now I come in part-time and I work with our youth apprenticeship students. Those are students that go to school part-time, work part-time, and have additional related instruction. I also work with the students that are going to college while they're in high school. So I help get them signed up. I get their textbooks for them. I make sure they're on the right road, right path, I should say, work with their counselors pretty much. So I'm now in student services and I work with the counselors. My day is interesting in the respect that it's never the same. I do work at a desk and on my computers, which is a little different than most typical teachers. Ms. Straddle might tell you some things a little bit different because she's in the regular classroom every day. And Ms. Jerichoic will have different things to say as she's bouncing back and forth between students as the day goes on. What I like the most about my job is meeting one-on-one with students. I do miss the big groups. I was a family and consumer science teacher. I taught foods classes, which of course I miss. I loved teaching foods classes and child development. I saw lots of students. Today I see less students, but I think I make more of an impact because I meet one-on-one with them help them look at where they're going, what they're going to be doing, how they can be successful, both here at the high school and outside of the high school. One thing I did forget to mention, that I've also worked with our alternative education program. During a couple of years when our numbers in enrollment were a little low, I had the opportunity to work with our alternative education department. So I went back to school and received another certification so I could work with that population. Those were usually students that were a little behind on credits. They needed to catch up. We wanted to make sure they could graduate. So I assisted them in those programs. So I'll pass the baton to Ms. Jerichowick, and she can add some information to what I've shared with you.
So there really is not a typical day, I guess, in my field, but every day is different. And that's why if you're someone that likes to have every day be different, I think a lot of us can say that anyway, that's my job. So some of my days consist of going to job placements where I have students and seeing them work and helping them problem solve. Sometimes you'll find me in my room working with students on resumes or working on interview skills or job applications. Sometimes you'll find me, this year not so much, but we run the Raider Pride Cafe, which is a coffee shop in the high school, which is wonderful. And it allows students the opportunity to learn job skills and different types of skills, and also interact with students, all students in our high school. So you'll find me sometimes in there. The wonderful part of my job is that it is student driven. So basically my days are whatever the students need. So some students might come and see me saying they have to solve some problems, they're having difficulties at work, so we work through that. Sometimes they want to fill out college applications, we do that. So it's pretty much whatever the students need is what my job is. And then I also work with teachers. We all plan and figure out how we can make things happen for students. So really my days are filled with that. I also have opportunities to meet with businesses throughout my days too, if opportunity allows itself, just to see what businesses are hiring and those kind of things. So I have a really fun job. It's always, nothing is the same. So, and that's what I love. I kind of like chaos. So sometimes chaos is good. If you are someone that enjoys, doing different things, this job is something, or a job in education truly is something that you'll probably love doing, because no day is ever the same. And that's what the wonderful thing is about it. So Ms. Straddle, I think it's now to you.
Okay. So as Mrs. Klein said, I'm the only one with a teaching, actually in the classroom position. And I guess my day it's always the same schedule, but no day is the same. My days always go fast, except today because it's my first day away from my new puppy. So I'm counting down the minutes because I'm so worried about him being at home. But other than that, I always have a fast day. Some of my responsibilities are, I work with students just trying to figure out what ways they learn best. We work on just behaviors, social emotional is huge in special ed, or just in general, not just special ed. We have quite a few, we're very proactive, so we have a lot of different grants going on. So I have a lot of meetings with that. I spend a lot of time with my coworkers, just brainstorming, because we do come across so many challenges in our job. So yeah, it's a whole bunch of stuff. And when I think about it, it's not what I thought teaching would be. But I think I love it even more than what I thought. I think I thought that teachers just stand in front of the room and teach, and that's all you do, and then correct papers. And that would probably be the smallest part of my job, is standing in front of a room and teaching. So, and why do I like my job? I love my job because it always challenges me. I can't ever get stale because the kids are always changing and they all have new needs. Because I like learning, so I have to find new ways to have them so that they are successful. And some kids they don't want to be here, and it is my job to figure out ways for them to want to be here and be successful, so that when they graduate, they have success. And I love my coworkers. I couldn't be happier. I have the best team. I mean, we need a strong team to do what we do. So that is one of the major things. If you're thinking about teaching, find a district that fits you and fits your personality, because it's too tough a job to do it alone.
I think I'm up now.
Mr. Dahl.
I just want to echo, I hope you have heard that every day is not a typical day. The days change. Yes, you may have a typical, these are the hours, but again, you can come into school one day thinking, yep, I'm going to start this right away, and all of a sudden, nope, you got to get pulled into a meeting, or there is something that goes on that you need to get go and assist at. One of the things that I love about my job is it is a team approach, and I think that you've heard that from all of us. Yes, you are a teacher. Yes, you are a counselor or job coach or part of the district. You help everybody, and you just can't do your job alone anymore. You have to rely on others. I saw a bunch of head nodding when Mrs. Straddle was talking about that, and it really is. It is I agree with her 100%. Find a district that fits your personality. One of the things I would suggest that you do now is, if you have an opportunity to get out and volunteer. I know it's tough right now in the COVID era, but maybe down the road here we can volunteer at an elementary school. If you can actually get out and go to a middle school or high school other than yourself, or your own high school. Maybe tutor someone. It just really would be beneficial. I feel like my son would be a great teacher, but he can't stand people. So my son went to a different profession route. It's kind of funny because here I like to talk and I like to meet with people and find out what they, what's going on with them. And my son, he doesn't talk so much. So again, a typical day is hard to describe for me, but I love my job. As I stated, I was a teacher for quite a few years, and then I did the teaching and counseling. The thing with my job, the overall theme that I've found throughout my college days and even my career days, I just love helping people. And so one of the reasons that I'm a counselor, yes, I may not be out in front of students a lot, but I do in fact help a lot of students. I'm the one that with my duties, I'm the one that tries to help figure out the schedule to try to get every student possible into the requests that they choose. I actually help build that schedule. There's a lot of different things I do, not job opportunities, but just different items that you do. Obviously, we all email teachers back and forth all the time, trying to help students out. We email, we phone parents, students, other teachers. We just get going to a pace where, we're going to do whatever we can to help this student. And that's the wonderful thing about the Two Rivers School District, is that we do work with as a team approach and just really try to help everyone succeed and do their best that they can absolutely do. I love my job. I couldn't see myself any other place. Yes, does it get tough? Absolutely. I think every one of us would agree that it does get tough. There are times that I want to cry, just simply because I know that there are students that are in tough situations, and we can try to provide as much support as we can. But again, it just, you feel for that student, you feel for that situation. My job is not typically always at the desk. A lot of people think, oh, the school counselors, they just sit at their desk all day. No, I'm out in the hallway. I'm sometimes going outside to track somebody down. I'm out in the hallways a lot between classes. I go and I help teachers if they need to, situation arises where they just need a little bit of time to get stuff out of the room. They can call me and I will come down and help. So there's a lot of different things about my job. Mrs. Klein, what other things would you like to know from us to help these students with Career Expo?
Well, you brought up one of the things that I was going to mention, and that was, what can students do now if they're interested in education? So one of the things that I did when I was in high school is I was a Girl Scout leader, and I continued that after I left high school and even into college. So that was my first opportunity to work with young people and get an idea if that's what I would like to do and continue with. Then I went on and I worked with Girl Scouts. As a professional, I was employed with the Girl Scouts, the local council, and did quite a few activities with them. I also had the opportunity to volunteer at a special needs camp, oh gosh, I can't even remember the name of it. It's been so long. But my husband, who was a special ed teacher also, got me involved in that camp. And I had lots of opportunities. Students today, as Mr. Dahl mentioned, can do volunteer work. You can get over at the elementaries or middle schools and do some volunteering or teacher aiding, as we call it. That'll give you some good opportunities. Also, think about the classes that you're taking. Look at child development, human development, intro to psychology, sociology, classes that deal with the human being and all parts of the human being, anatomy, not just physical or emotional or mental, intellectual, all of them. And you will have a good rounded basis to start your college education on. One other thing that we could share is that we all have different degrees because depending on what we're teaching, we have different certifications. So I have a degree in education, but I have a certification to teach family and consumer sciences, alternative education, and then I have a master's in education professional development. That's what I've done. And that's allowed me to teach grades 7 through 12. And a couple other people mentioned where they're at. So I'm going to have you chime in and then we're going to wrap it up. So Mr. Koick, you want to go first?
So I went to school originally I was going to just do special education, and I was told to it's called dual certification. So I have an elementary certification, so I could teach regular ed in a classroom, K through or 1 through 6th grade. And then with my special ed degree, I can teach pre-K through high school. So sometimes you know what you want to do and what levels, and the beauty of now is that if you, let's say you go to school for teaching and you're teaching younger kids and you want to teach older kids, a lot of times you can go back, get a certification and do that. So don't.
Go.
Okay. I just had a like total mind blank. Oh, what I went to college for. So I went and got my regular elementary degree, my bachelor's in elementary education, right out of high school. And with that, I got a minor in science. So I can teach 1st through 6th grade elementary, and then 6, 7, 8 science, middle school science. And then that's when I went back when I went for teaching. There was, remember, one position was 400 of us applying for one position. So it was just an insane pool of people. So when the special ed opportunity came along, I went back. I had to go back, get my special ed certification, do another 18 weeks of student teaching. So it was a long road. I think they've shortened the road since then for additional certifications, but it was worth it and I don't regret it. Now I'm in special ed. So I could teach special ed 1st grade till age 21 because kids with IEPs in special IEPs are their plan. Their special ed plan can stay in high school till they're age 21. So I can work with students up to that age. And then I think that's all I have. And that's all I have. Okay, Mr. Dahl.
Hey everyone, maybe this was a glitchy on your end. One of the things that you will definitely learn in this era of a teacher or working in the schools, you have to go with the flow. Our Zoom meeting ended and we have to restart, so we'll get this piece together. And again, it's just something that we all are living with, and it's a good opportunity to just wrapping up. One of the things that I have started when I was back in high school. Hi, Mrs. J.
I'm cut out. I don't know what happened, but mine went dead.
Yep. We back in college, one of the things I did was, again, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and so
Let me back in.
I ended up, you're on, there you go, Lisa. We have to learn how to work technology here. So again, when I was in college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I just took general education requirements for a bachelor's degree. Typically bachelor's degrees, you go at least 3 years, if not 4, sometimes 5. Again, one of the opportunities that you may have is to get involved with some early college credit program classes or some Start College Now classes, which can help push you a little bit further to that career if that's something you know you want to do. But then after that, again, I did go in for physical education, so I have a degree, a Bachelor of Science degree in physical education in pre-K through adult. I also got what was called an 860 certification or add-on, which allows me to teach students with different abilities or adaptive physical education from pre-K through adult. And then again, as I stated earlier, I went back and got my master's in school counseling. You actually start in a counseling field. It just is counseling, and then you have to declare an emphasis. And then after you declare the emphasis, then there's more student teaching at all the levels if you decide to be a school counselor. Again, I believe Ms. Straddle hit it right on the head. Learning will never stop. You are always constantly learning in this profession, and there's new tools all the time. It is a fun profession. Can't talk profession to get into. So with that, Mrs. Klein, you wanted to do a wrap up?
I will do that. So everyone who's interested in teaching, education, or training, heed what we had to say, but also talk to your teachers and your counselors. Anybody in your school district will gladly speak to you on the topic of becoming a teacher and what it's like to go through college and get that degree and go forth with it in, as you can see, a variety of ways just based on the experience of the 4 of us. So I'd like to thank everyone for chiming in today, Mrs. Jerichoic, Mr. Dahl, and Mrs. Straddle. And thank you for handling our little technical glitch. I think we managed it well, and we will now call it a day. Mrs. Nichols?